With their mask completely off, Ormus is now free to operate out in the open, and in turn, their religious crusade shifts from the shadows to the battlefield. They even manage to gain some ground, fully wrenching Mictum and its accompanying system from the grip of the Federation after 100 years spent under their rule. The Gnosis, as problematic as ever, have continued to raze worlds to the ground despite evacuation efforts. To try and stave off the invasions, Dimitri and the Salvatores outfit another relic of God with weaponry to create the ultimate anti-Gnosis warship, dubbing it the Merkaba in reference to Mizrahi's Proto-Merkaba. His influence in the Federation government grants him near unlimited resources and has allowed him to move the entirety of their anti-Gnosis project under his direction. Not only that, but he has control over the Kukai Foundation as well after secretly taking control of Guinan's body. It's these connections that has seemingly allowed him to acquire a copy of the Y data as well, a fact that Yuli is attempting to hide from Momo to protect her feelings. Though Yuriev has full control over Guinan's body, his son's soul still dwells within him. He's forced to watch as his father puppets his body for his own selfish ends. On top of that, he must also contend with the ever-present influence of Udu that scarred Yuriev all those years ago. All he's able to do for now is resist as much as possible and tolerate his tortured existence. Since resigning from Vector, Shion has been extremely busy with her investigation. With the help of Kanan, Miyuki, Doctus, and the rest of Scientia, she's been able to gather plenty of incriminating data on Vector, but now they're looking to hit the jackpot. Together, they infiltrate the S-Line division, the location in the UMN where Vector stores all of its most classified data. After beating down all of the defenses in the area, they're able to access the hub where the information is stored. Shion wants to know just how it was that Vector came to develop the UMN. She strongly believes that the groundwork for the network existed long before Vector even did. The idea that this technology came from nowhere is extremely odd. This data may be able to prove her theory, and that Vector has been misusing the UMN from the very beginning. Less than a nanosecond after completing the retrieval, they're ambushed by a Gnosis. They've been detected. They manage to defeat it and board their crafts as more begin pouring into the room. They speed to the exit, and just before disconnecting from the dive, Nephilim assists them telepathically, and a young boy briefly flashes into Shion's field of view. Back in the real world, Shion exits ES Dyna as Miyuki confirms a mission success, though Shion belittles her for what she saw as a subpar performance. Doctus begins combing through the data and will update when necessary. Miyuki expresses worry at whether their actions are just or not. She still is a Vector employee, after all. Shion points out that Vector was committing crimes long before they were. People have suffered because of Vector. Those on Old Miltia and all throughout the universe have died because they've been controlling the Gnosis. It's Shion's anger at this disregard for life that's even led her to begin investigating her father, Suo Uzuki's potential connection to the Miltian conflict. As she hangs up, she gets a sudden rush of pain in her head. She's had a number of these episodes recently, maybe even a concerning amount, but she brushes them off. She heads down to her camp and begins responding to emails. She set up shop on a little island on 2nd Miltia called Padea Island. She opens up a message from Alan where he breaks some bad news. Himself, their coworker Togashi, and the KOS-MOS project are being transferred to the Federation military. As a result, work on KOS-MOS will cease and a new unit will be created. He invites her to 5th Jerusalem for old time's sake and to see KOS-MOS. He ends the message with a smooth compliment, perhaps indicating that his time as chief has bolstered his confidence, though he still refers to Shion herself as chief. Shion reflects on her time with the KOS-MOS project and Kevin. Even now, she still admires his tenacity, his determination to help people. He would be saddened by the news, she thinks. She decides it's important to go see KOS-MOS, even after everything that's happened, so Shion gets her affairs in order and heads for 5th Jerusalem. The 4 Testaments have gathered to initiate the final phase of Wilhelm's plan to trigger an eternal recurrence. They have met at Renle Chateau, the resting place of Mary Magdalene's body. The landmass around it has been adrift in space, separated from lost Jerusalem. KOS-MOS has failed to produce the results they have desired, so they have come for Mary's original body. They will build a new battle android, one without an attachment to Shion or any interest in protecting others. After almost 2 years of planning, T-elos will be born. The Red Testament informs Wilhelm of the breach orchestrated by Shion, but he's unbothered. Shion's actions remain within the confines of destiny. Her contact with KOS-MOS has affected her as he hoped, despite the android's shortcomings. He still wants to keep a close eye on her, though. Margulis and Pellegrini stare in disappointment at the barren wasteland that is Mictum. Their holy land is nothing more than a junk heap at this point. However, it makes little difference to Margulis. Even though he's not privy to the plan, he's sure that Cardinal Heinlein's cause is a righteous one, and he'll do whatever is necessary to enact the will of the Cardinal. After all, Renle Chateau, a piece of lost Jerusalem, has reappeared. This is proof enough to them that Ormus and their fight is a true one. The data that Scientia's dive team retrieved reveals the location of Renle Chateau. It would appear that a large number of Gnosis have been seen in the area as well. Kanan brings this information to Yuli, and they decide that they need to send a team in to investigate. She shows a bit of concern for Kanan at this proposition, though. Much like Miyuki, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He was created by Vector, lent out to the Federation government, and is now working with Scientia to expose the very company he came from. They contact the Kukai Foundation to handle the reconnaissance mission, and they deploy the Elsa along with the ESs in their possession, and ES Asher, Jr. in Chaos, and Zebulon, Ziggy, and Momo, and Ruben is piloted by Jin alone. As they near the floating landmass, Matthews and Hammer point out the confusing results of their scan. It's 70 kilometers across, but for some reason this object's mass and gravity field make no sense. Furthermore, upon approach, the team notices how unnatural the formation is. It seems to have been artificially cut from its planet of origin. Before they can reach their objective, they're headed off by Ormus. The team attempts to clear a path for the Elsa to land, but Margulis gets in the way. He tries taking advantage of Momo's clear inexperience piloting something of this caliber, but Jin intervenes before Zebulon takes heavy damage. No words need to be exchanged to know who they're fighting against. As the two trade blows, a massive rift envelops the landmass and begins to emit tremendous energy. As Junior's team begins to retreat, Margulis is able to catch Jin off guard and prepares to slice open Ruben. Before he can, Tony rams the Elsa into Levi, allowing for Jin's escape. In anger, Margulis throws a sword at the ship, critically damaging the Elsa's logical drive. Although Tony does all he can to get away, the Elsa still plummets into the expanding mass of energy. Margulis intends to pursue and prevent them from landing on such sacred ground, but to his disbelief, Heinlein tells him to pull back and move on to the next task. Just as Ormus is making big moves, so too is Dmitri. Overseeing development at this scale is a monumental task, so it stands to reason that he would recruit a scientist capable of handling the workload. To this end, he's begun a partnership with Dr. Sellers, who in turn defected from Ormus. Using the remains of Proto-Omega, the Doctor has been working on a machine that could potentially surpass its power. However, they lack the original Zohar or any of the emulators. Using Mizrahi's research, he was able to construct his own emulator, if you could even call it that. His crude imitation pales in comparison to the original, which, combined with their choice in pilot, results in extremely unstable energy outputs. Sellers admits that perhaps having Vector assist on the project would allow them to work around the issue. However, since Yuriev has moved all development over to the Federation, this is no longer possible. The last thing he wants is for Wilhelm to get any kind of upper hand at this point in the game. They've advanced far past what Vector is capable of. He ironically says this while, unbeknownst to him, the T-elos project is entirely overseen by Wilhelm in the Testaments, though he does highly suspect that their project lead is a plant. Meanwhile, Shion arrives at the Mobius Hotel and is greeted by Alan in the lobby. As they head up to her room, Shion asks Alan to stop calling her Chief from now on, but he nervously says that it's hard to change what he calls her after all this time. She brushes it off as they enter the elevator. Alan gets a call from Miyuki where she forgets to pretend like she hasn't seen Shion. The subject quickly changes when Miyuki insinuates that Alan is going to try and sleep with Shion in the hotel room. Flustered, Alan unequivocally denies the suggestion. Regardless, Shion is not interested in this conversation. Before hanging up, Miyuki mentions that tomorrow, KOS-MOS will be going up against the Federation's newest anti-Gnosis weapon in a last-minute public demonstration. Shion asks if she can come as Alan prepares to head back to work. Later on in the day, Chaos contacts Shion and asks if she'd like to get something to eat. Her friends have just arrived on the planet, and they want to update her on the situation concerning the Elisa and her crew. As it stands, the current theory is that they're trapped inside a pocket within the UMN, but they can't be sure seeing as all communication methods have completely failed. During the discussion, Chaos notices that Shion has gone pale, and as he points this out, she collapses onto the table. Chaos knows what this is. He's seen it before. Contact with Udu is starting to take its toll on her. All he can do for now is make her comfortable until she comes to. While she's passed out, just like Guinan, she briefly speaks with Udu, but hasn't fully figured that out yet. She soon wakes and realizes that Chaos must have brought her back to the hotel room. She's then startled by a call from Alan. He's finally been able to get through to her. It's almost time for the demonstration. She quickly makes it down to the hotel lobby, where Alan is waiting, and they head to the testing grounds. On the walk over, they discuss Yuriev and how it's a little concerning that he's managed to amass this much power so quickly. Alan is particularly worried about KOS-MOS's opponent. Before the main event, they're given a preview of what T-elos is capable of. Shion immediately notices that she looks identical to KOS-MOS. As the test begins, they witness nothing short of complete combat mastery. It's almost as if she's playing with her food, enjoying the destruction that she's capable of. Her reaction time and Hilbert effect strength are measured to be 3 times that of KOS-MOS. She outclasses her in nearly every regard. As the arena clears for KOS-MOS's bout, Shion understands exactly why Alan was worried. KOS-MOS's opponent is a new version of Proto-Omega. Alan clarifies that they're calling it Omega Res Novae, but the name change doesn't matter. They've basically just made an improved version of the most dangerous machine in the universe. KOS-MOS is unable to damage this upgraded Omega even with her X-Buster. However, she turns the tide with a powerful kick, knocking it to the ground. It's at this moment that the thing Sellers had warned Yuriev about has proved true. The energy output has become unstable, and Omega begins firing its cannon wildly through the room. One of the beams even threatens to strike the observation area, but KOS-MOS jumps in the way, taking the full impact of the blast. Thankfully, the development team is able to quickly cease the malfunction by disabling the emulator's link and ejecting the pilot. After the demonstration, the head technician of the T-elos project, Roth Mantell, sees Alan and comes over to gloat. Shion has trouble keeping her eyes off him, though. There's something about him that she can't quite figure out, like she's met him somewhere before. As Shion and Alan go to leave, Yuli spots the two of them and invites them to see what she's been working on. She mentions that she's frequently seen Jin, and this seems to make Shion uncomfortable. She hasn't talked to her brother since the incident with Almadel, and to be quite honest, she doesn't really want to. Their relationship has always been strained, to be sure, but after all of that drama, Shion's been avoiding him like the plague. Before the conversation gets awkward, the door opens and a young boy enters the room. This non-verbal child is named Abel, and he is no ordinary boy. Since accepting Momo as her daughter, Yuli's demeanor has shifted back to that of a loving mother. This makes her the perfect candidate to watch over and guide Abel. To Shion's bewilderment, Abel is somehow able to draw a picture of Nephilim unprompted. Before she can get any answers, Yuli is called into a meeting and recommends that Shion visit her old co-workers in 1st Division. While it's nice to see everybody at first, she quickly gets emotional and decides that it's best to go back to her hotel for now. Before she leaves, Alan gathers up the courage to ask her out to dinner the next day. He assumed the answer would be no, but he's shocked when she actually accepts. He can barely contain his excitement. His mood quickly sours when, a few minutes after Shion's departure, Rothmantel arrives to eagerly announce the decision that KOS-MOS is to be sent to the scrap heap. After she gets back to her room, Shion updates Doctus on what she's witnessed at the testing grounds. In fact, she covertly recorded the entire thing on her glasses, so she sends it over for analysis. Before hanging up, Doctus informs her that all the data they stole the other day references a system labeled Canaan. They haven't found a relationship between it and the Realian Canaan, but the coincidence is eerie. What they can gather is that it's an observational program that Vector has been utilizing for over 100 years. They're searching for something. After the call, Nephilim contacts Shion and, as usual, relays a bunch of cryptic information. The universe is on the verge of destruction, and Shion, together with KOS-MOS, are the only ones who can stop it. That same day, Nephilim and Chaos sit together on top of a building, discussing the current predicament. Nephilim wishes that she could tell Shion everything up front, but they both agree that it would be too much to handle all at once. Chaos grapples with the power he's been given. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do. Wilhelm wants to hurtle this world towards some predetermined outcome. What can they do to stop it? Nephilim reminds him of something that he used to say long, long ago, that there is no guaranteed future. A single human thought can change the world. While he's still unsure of himself, he's sure that the key to fixing all this lies with his friends. Margulis' religious conviction is beginning to wane. For the first time, he's questioning Heinlein's wisdom. First, he told him to leave Renle Chateau, and now he's saying that this new version of Omega does not rightfully belong to the immigrant fleet. After Heinlein warns that he may end up like Sergius if he keeps questioning his faith, he profusely apologizes. After much investigation, Kanan informs Yuli that he has discovered a way to break through the barrier keeping the Elsa captive. A weapon like Omega's phase transfer cannon could puncture a hole through the hypersphere. Since Dimitri is unlikely to lend out a weapon like that, instead, Kanan suggests using KOS-MOS' tertiary weapon system. The problem with that is KOS-MOS has already been marked for disposal. If they want to rescue the Elsa and her crew, they're going to have to steal her from the dump. So, Yuli gets in contact with Alan to start planning a heist. Meanwhile, Doctus tells Shion that she's found evidence that Ormus is somehow involved in Telos' development. Records have been obscured and scrubbed, but there's no denying that they're up to something. Furthermore, Miyuki was able to figure out that Shion's father was involved in UTIC. What makes this more concerning is that he was actually a government agent tasked with preventing exactly what occurred on Old Milsha. The question is whether he was a contributor to the chaos or failed to do his job. Shion answers a call from Alan, but before she can even say hello, collapses and falls to the floor yet again. Alan comes to the hotel and sits by her bedside until she wakes, much to her surprise. He assures her that even if he was a million light years away, he'd still rush to her side. Alan also tells her that Yuli would like to speak with her the next day, and he supposes that means their dinner plans are off. Instead, Shion suggests that they go out now and speak to Yuli tomorrow, and they sit on a park bench together, eating sandwiches, enjoying the view of the city. Unfortunately, Shion kills the mood by saying that this reminds her of when she used to eat with Kevin. That night, Doctus pays a visit to Kanan to interrogate him about Program Kanan. She's found evidence that the program is burned into his mind. He makes it clear that he knows nothing about this, and she begrudgingly chooses to believe him. She's sure to let him know that if he's ever interfering with them, whether he's conscious of it or not, she will destroy him. The next day, Shion rendezvous with the usual suspects at the spaceport for the meeting with Yuli. She asks them all to help steal KOS-MOS from the testing ground junkyard in order to break through the hypersphere. It has begun to shrink, and eventually will disappear completely into the imaginary number domain. If this happens, any chance of rescuing the crew of the Elsa is gone. Everyone is on board with the idea, but right as they prepare to leave, Shion collapses again. Just like last time, Alan watches over her while she recovers, but after a few hours, Jin tells him to get some rest. He'll stay with her for a bit. During his conversation with Shion, they reminisce on their childhood and discuss her work with Scientia. Jin says that he doesn't care what she's doing as long as she's healthy. He exits the room and leaves some herbal medicine for her on the bed. Once Shion's back on her feet, Yuli sees her out. As they walk together, Yuli reveals her uncertainty about working on this new version of Omega. She doesn't know if what she's doing is right, but hopes it is. She wishes that she was more like Shion, who stayed true to her morals to the point that she resigned from her career. Shion reminds her that KOS-MOS herself is a weapon, but Yuli disagrees. She thinks there's something different about her, something special. KOS-MOS may be a machine, but she has a heart and mind like everyone else. Before she leaves, Yuli imparts some words of wisdom. To believe in KOS-MOS is to believe in herself. The plan to retrieve KOS-MOS starts out smoothly enough. Miyuki uses fake credentials to get them onto the property, and they quietly handle any guards in the way. However, the trouble starts when they actually enter the building. An automated message plays over the intercom repeatedly.
Pilot of Omega Res Novae, please contact security immediately. If you have seen the pilot of Omega Res Novae, please contact
It seems like the facility is already on high alert. Even worse, the elevator won't open for Miyuki, so she takes them across the way to a different elevator. But for some reason, this one is not stopping on the floor that they selected. Shion is quick to blame Miyuki for the inconvenience, but Jin is certain that someone is interfering with their mission. Either way, they need to be on their toes moving forward. The floor that they end up on turns out to be the underground hangar that houses Omega Res Novae. While they're passing by it, Shion collapses into Ziggy's arms, but doesn't quite pass out this time. As soon as they start moving again, Abel appears in the doorway. He says, "Sad being this way," and turns the corner. When Junior asks who the child is, Alan provides some important context. Abel is the pilot of Omega Res Novae. He lives in this facility. They decide to follow him, and sure enough, the direction he is headed is where KOS-MOS is. Among the discarded machinery and trash, they find KOS-MOS lying motionless against a pile of metal. As they reboot her, Shion notices that there's a strange task running in the background of her system, and they make a note of it for later.
Chief, I'm gonna start her up.
Please do. Good morning, KOS-MOS. How are you?
And good morning to you, Shion. My drive coefficient is down by 0.3, but everything else is running normal. There are no problems.
Good. I'm sorry, KOS-MOS.
Is there something wrong, Shion?
No, it's nothing. I'm just happy. That's all.
With KOS-MOS up and running, their mission is complete, and they go to leave. On their way back to the elevator, Shion falls to the ground again, completely unconscious. Udo is trying to communicate with her once more. He simply wants to get to know her, but being the higher dimensional existence that he's either unaware or indifferent to the fact that this repeated contact could kill her. It's this conversation where he informs her that he is the one that they all call Udo. When Shion wakes, she assures her friends that she's fine, although they're more than concerned at this point. That has to wait though, since they still need to get back to the Durandal with KOS-MOS. As they're leaving, a Gnosis stands in their way, and they quickly defeat it, exiting the facility. As the Durandal leaves 5th Jerusalem and charts a course for the hypersphere, Roth Mantell and the Blue Testament watch from afar. It would seem that Wilhelm's compass indicates that they're still on the predetermined course. To initiate the next step of the plan, the two of them travel to Renle Chateau their own way. At the hypersphere, the group deploys their ESs and KOS-MOS activates her phase transfer cannon. Despite the massive amount of energy exerted, there's no change in the outer shell. Shion remembers what Yuli told her and assures everyone that they just need to believe in KOS-MOS. KOS-MOS maximizes her energy output and is finally able to pierce through the barrier, damaging her tertiary weapon system in the process. Before the hole closes up, they fly into the unknown. They make contact with the Elsa and realize that the ship is unable to move. They theorize that there's something on the landmass preventing it from doing so. The group investigates the nearby cave and comes upon a wall with ancient letters on it. Momo recognizes the pattern from her father's Y data and translates it. The words are foreign to them, but long ago this was a well-known tale. What she recites is Matthew 28:2 from the Bible, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Before they can figure out what this means, the Blue Testament appears from the shadows and finally reveals himself as Louis Virgil to Shion. He attempts to defeat them, but their combined power proves too much. Thankfully for him, the White Testament arrives and is able to pull him out of the situation. Junior's able to recognize his voice and tries to get Albedo's attention, but he ignores him, takes the Vessel of Anima from Virgil's ES, and disappears. All of a sudden, no one else can move their ESs. Since they're out of commission, the party ventures further into the cave on foot. They emerge at an area that Shion has dreamt about in the past, and everyone follows her down a pathway in the forest. They enter another cave, and Shion can remember this place as well. This location appeared within KOS-MOS's encephalon. Interestingly, KOS-MOS has no data on this area within her memory banks. Everyone but Chaos is unaware, but this is the resting place of Mary Magdalene. Quite poetically, T-elos ambushes them here. Chaos recognizes her just as he did upon meeting KOS-MOS for the first time. He can tell that this is also Mary, but doesn't understand how there could be two of them. T-elos intends to completely destroy KOS-MOS to ensure her own survival. She was created to succeed where KOS-MOS could not. The two of them cannot coexist. KOS-MOS puts up as good of a fight as she can, but her analysis shows that T-elos has 4.75 times higher power than her. She can't win. What she can do is buy Shion and the others some time to escape. They don't want to leave without her though, and they watch as T-elos lands blow after blow on her. Roth Mantell enters the cave and reveals himself as the Red Testament. He says that it's fated for T-elos to destroy KOS-MOS here.
KOS-MOS! But why? KOS-MOS! No! Please stop!
I am order, not you, KOS-MOS!
Stop it!
Sure enough, Telos is victorious, but as the dust settles, the entire cave is enveloped in light. From the outside of the hypersphere, those on the Durandal detect that the mass is starting to contract, and before their very eyes, the entire area of space disappears. From his office, Wilhelm gazes into his compass of order and chaos. As usual, everything is going according to plan, just like it has every single time. Confused at first, Shion realizes that she's talking to Udo again. They speak about her memories of Kevin and how even if she could do it all over again, she'd still be with Kevin. Every time, over and over again, for eternity. She awakens in the forest, and after a bit of wandering, finds everyone else minus KOS-MOS, Alan, and the Elsa crew. They walk for what feels like hours, and as they exit the dense foliage, notice a tower that looks strikingly similar to Labyrinthos. As a matter of fact, it is Labyrinthos, the main base of UTIC that was on Old Miltia, but it looks completely intact. There's no sign that the Miltian conflict has even occurred. After a bit of discussion, Momo suggests that they might actually be in the past. Determined to learn more, they press onward until they hear a gunshot. A group of Realians have opened fire at a Federation soldier. After rescuing him and slowing the bleeding, they realize that the man is a young Louis Virgil. They take him to a nearby church, which they also recall as being within KOS-MOS' encephalon. Inside are a prepubescent Shion, a teenage Kevin, and Fibronia, though Shion does not recognize Kevin at this point. To prevent total organ failure, they need to transplant a number of organs into Virgil's body. Fibronia offers up her own for the procedure. Being the one-of-a-kind transgenic type that she is, her tissue is compatible with humans, and as long as she's given some time to heal and travels back to Labyrinthos, she can regenerate all of her missing tissue. Kevin begrudgingly and successfully completes the surgery and asks everyone to leave so he won't get in trouble with his superiors. After all, he just provided medical care to an enemy soldier. Conveniently, the younger Shion mentions that a green ship landed somewhere nearby, and in hopes that it's the Elsa, the group goes to investigate. In order to get to it, they need to pass through a mine. Inside, they encounter Mai Magus, a local girl with a grudge against UTIC. She believes that Shion and the others are members of the organization, and refuses to let them pass after what happened to her father. After protesting against UTIC, her father was kidnapped and experimented on by them until his death. She believes that her father's soul lives on inside the robot he built, and together they attack the party. Before anyone gets too hurt, they're able to get through to Mai and head deeper into the mine. The green ship was indeed the Elsa, and their friends inside are unharmed. They were able to retrieve the ES's and KOS-MOS' damaged remains, but unfortunately, the latter was critically injured in the fight with Telos. Her core processing unit was irreparably damaged. The only one with the knowledge to fix it would be Kevin, and since he's dead, KOS-MOS is dead. While sleeping that night, Shion's subconscious shows her a long-forgotten memory. The original version of Virgil's surgery. Jin and her friends were not there as they were today. The events played out in largely the same way, though. Upon waking up, the group meets with the professor to try and understand what their current situation is. The anima relics have been removed from their ESs, so they're unable to move at this point. On top of that, the longer that they stay in the past, the more ripples they'll create in the space-time continuum. Their presence is generating latent heat, and as long as they remain here, it'll keep building up. If enough heat builds up, this entire region of space will collapse in on itself. and as of right now, they have no way of returning to the present. Despite multiple warnings from Alan, Jin, and the Professor, Shion wants to change the past and prevent the Miltian conflict from happening. Alan tries to keep her on the Elsa, but she insists on going outside to blow off some steam. To prevent her from interfering with any major events, as well as keeping her safe, Alan tags along. On their way into the city, they watch as Utic cleans up the aftermath of a Federation ambush. A combat Realian transport has been totaled, and the Realians inside killed. Shion notices her father among the cleanup crew. She's more determined than ever to find out what he was up to. When the coast is clear, Shion and Alan clone the Realian IDs and steal their clothing. Now they can slip into Labyrinthos undetected. Inside, they encounter Joachim Mizrahi himself, who mistakes them for his new subordinates. With access to their computer systems, they comb through the data and find Shion's own mother listed as a test subject meant to link with the anima relics. Soon after, they realize that the boy they met in the church was Kevin, and that he's also Mizrahi's assistant, something they were never aware of. They're also able to find Kevin's original schematics for the KOS-MOS archetype. Shion downloads them in the hopes that they could be used to fix her. Further into the facility, they find Shion's father conducting an analysis on his comatose wife, and Shion loses her temper. Her mother's charts indicate that she's in excruciating agony, and she demands to know why he's experimenting on his own family. He berates her for insubordination, but during the argument, the younger Shion enters the room, and her father tasks the elder Shion with escorting the child back home. Instead of doing that, the younger Shion decides to collect flowers from the garden to bring to Virgil as he recovers. While they're picking the flowers, Kevin comes outside to make fun of them for taking part in such a childish activity. Surprised at his immaturity, Shion's prompted to ask a question that must have been confusing for him. "Are you really Kevin?" When they make it to the church, they're surprised to see Jin, who's making sure Virgil's recovery progresses smoothly. The younger Shion presents Virgil with the flowers, and while he angrily rejects them at first, he changes his mind when he sees her sad reaction. Feb soon arrives in perfect health to check on Virgil as well. He's not very happy to see her since he hates Realians. Many of his comrades have been killed by combat models, and he's sick to his stomach that he has organs from a Realian inside of him. Feb tries to convince him that she means no harm and truly wants to help him, but he doesn't want to listen. Over the coming days, his attitude towards her begins to soften, however. As his health improves, they talk more, and Virgil does grow to care for her. Of course, he's still rough around the edges, but he's kind enough to let her know that her cooking is delicious. Shion, Alan, and Jin return to the Elsa and deliver the information that they stole on KOS-MOS to Scott and the Professor. As fantastic as this data is, they're still unsure if she'll be able to recover. There's so much that they just don't understand about her basic programming that it's really just a shot in the dark. They recommend that Shion play an extremely bad video game while they work on her. She finishes up quickly and heads to her room to take a shower. As the water cascades down her back, she thinks about what's going to befall Miltia soon. Countless lives will be lost, millions upon billions will die, and she could stop it. She wonders what KOS-MOS would do. Would she save everyone because she can, risking the destabilization of the timeline, or would she let them all die because that's the logical decision? As she's finishing up, Alan video calls her to let her know that the professor would like to speak with her, but when he notices she's naked, he has trouble getting out the words. Suddenly, an explosion coming from KOS-MOS' maintenance room shakes the ship, and everyone heads down to see what's happened. Using his testament powers, Voyager has gained entry to the Elsa completely undetected and has taken hold of KOS-MOS' maintenance pod. No matter what anyone does, they cannot harm him. Seeing that he's going to take KOS-MOS away, against the advice of her friends, Shion attacks Voyager. He stops her in her tracks, and just as he's about to grab her neck, Shion notices a familiar sight. The Hilbert effect. Voyager can be damaged now. Then, KOS-MOS reaches her arm out from the pod, grabbing him. As always, KOS-MOS is here to protect Shion, and this time she's stronger than ever before. KOS-MOS version 4 has awakened, and along with her friends, they work to repel him from the ship. With a final maneuver from KOS-MOS and Ziggy, they're able to land a decisive blow. Then, after being called away by the Red Testament, he disappears from view. Shion, overjoyed that KOS-MOS is okay, tightly wraps her arms around her. Interestingly, KOS-MOS does something that she's never done before. She apologizes to Shion. She's sorry that she worried her while undergoing repairs. KOS-MOS has changed. They don't know it yet, but this is Mary Magdalene's soul, shining brighter and stronger within her. Shion collapses from exhaustion and falls into a deep sleep. In her slumber, she's able to communicate with the late Joachim Mizrahi. He gives her a bit of advice.
I would make a world in which all wills that have yet to be born can live in happiness. I want you to live in a world like that too. That is my wish.
Professor Mizrahi.
Don't do anything you don't want to. Be true to your feelings. Do that, and she will answer your call.
In this same dream, she sees a woman that looks just like KOS-MOS, but not quite. Before she can process what she's seeing, she wakes up in bed with Jin watching over her. She once again expresses her desire to alter the past and stop the Miltian conflict, much to Jin's dismay. It's far too dangerous to change an event at that scale. They don't know what the result would be. The professor has come up with an idea to return to the present. If they steal the anima relics in Labyrinthos, they can use them to generate enough energy to travel forward in time. They're unfortunately still going to have to alter the past in some way if they want to get home. But if they stay, they risk an even more cataclysmic event occurring. So the party decides to break into Labyrinthos, and as they do, they find themselves witnessing firsthand the beginning of the end of the Miltian conflict. Momo takes this opportunity to speak with her father, and though he doesn't realize who she is, he expresses to her his hope for his new daughter to be born into a world where she doesn't have to fear the end of the universe. He wants to protect this world and those who live in it. Soon after, they notice Shion's father and Kevin leaving a room, and they duck inside to see what they were doing. On the terminals, Momo is able to find not only Shion's mother amongst the names listed for experiments, but Shion's as well. Confused, she confronts Jin about this. He stays silent, not answering her questions. Before she can press him any further, she notices on the far side of the room that there are dozens of combat Realians in pods. This makes her heart skip a beat, since these prototypes are the same exact model of Realian that killed her parents. The 27 series Asura. The fact that Kevin was working in this room causes her great anguish. Her father she could accept, but Kevin? The man she loved was responsible for her mother's death? After taking some time to calm down, they continue the operation. They make it to the room holding not only the vessels of anima, but the ESs as well. As Shion walks through the room, she wonders how it is that the ESs are even here. Jin postulates that Heinlein and Wilhelm could have made some sort of deal that allowed for their usage in the experiments. They're so close to putting the pieces together, but they're still unaware that Heinlein and Wilhelm have been the same person all along. Unfortunately, it seems that there's a single anima relic missing, the one assigned to Asher. On the bright side, the Professor and Scott can outfit it with a spare reactor, originally created for use on Erde Kaiser. Asher is now the only ES able to move without a vessel of anima. As they prepare to leave, Chaos notices that the anima relics are reacting strangely. He wonders what this could mean. Surely Wilhelm has something to do with all this. But what is he trying to accomplish? Suddenly, they're finally noticed by Utic, and the alarm is sounded. Just as the exit becomes visible, they pick up a transmission which states that experimentation is going to begin on Shion's mother. In a split-second decision, Shion hops out of Dyna and takes an elevator down to the level her mother is on. Not willing to leave without her, the others turn their craft around, intending to assist her. But UTIC reinforcements prove too much. With Jin's advice, Junior makes the call, and they retreat back to the Elsa. During all the commotion, Shion is able to slip from corridor to corridor, and approaches the research wing holding her mother. However, she's stopped in her tracks when confronted by the Red Testament. Nothing prepares her for what comes next. He removes his mask, revealing that he has been Kevin all along. Not the young Kevin they've seen here in the past, but her Kevin, the love of her life.
I've come back for you, Shion.
What? What?
What are you doing in here?
She's the intruder! Don't let her get away!
Come on! Grab her! Stop struggling!
Hold her down!
Let go of me! Help me, Kevin!
What's she talking about?
Stop it! Don't touch me!
Someone
Get
shut her
away
up!
from me! Ah!
Now detained in an interrogation room, Shion tries to process this new information. Kevin is a testament. She was always under the impression that they were adversaries, but maybe she was wrong. Kevin would never hurt her, so maybe the testaments aren't enemies. On the other side of the two-way glass, Margulis and Pellegrini discuss how to handle Shion. She refuses to cooperate, and they want to know how this random girl managed to help steal the anima relics. Margulis theorizes that her contact with Suo Uzuki and Kevin Winnicott may have allowed her to gain inside information, so they're both called to the interrogation room as well. At this time, Suo and Kevin are returning to the room with the combat realians. Kevin intends to deploy the 27 series prototypes, but Suo is against it. They're far too unstable and only approved for experimental use. Kevin doesn't really care though, and feels that the only thing that matters is their combat capabilities. When the Zohar is activated as planned, they're going to release the Realians to defend their facility. They cannot lose here. Suo begs him to reconsider, but this has been the plan all along. There's no going back. Kevin reminds him that he betrayed the Federation and sacrificed his own wife to make this all happen, all for some hope that his daughter would not suffer the same fate as her. Mid-conversation, they get the call to come to the interrogation room and lay into Shion. She says that she's not going to tell them anything, but she can't help herself. She insults her father, pointing out how he's using his wife as a lab rat. She just can't seem to stop talking though, and lets slip that she knows about Ormus, which infuriates Margulis. She reminds him of someone he knows, namely Jin, and he does not like it. Back at the Elsa, Jin and Alan argue about their next course of action. Alan is adamant about going back to save her, but Jin feels that the risk of altering the timeline any further is much too great. Plus, security at Labyrinthos is now higher than ever after their theft of the anima relics, so the chances of getting through to her unscathed are low. Even so, Jin speculates that Shion's fainting spells are being caused by the same illness that left their mother bedridden. If they don't do anything, her condition may begin to rapidly deteriorate. To make matters worse, Fabronia arrives at the Elsa to inform her new friends that Margulis is preparing to torture Shion to get information from her. The mention of Margulis hits Jin like a ton of bricks, and he realizes the third descent operation is going to begin soon. The Miltian conflict is going to come to an end in mere hours, and they can use the confusion to rescue Shion. As the Federation ships soar overhead, they begin another infiltration of Labyrinthos, this time accompanied by Alan. For the first time, he takes up arms with them, all in service of rescuing the woman he loves. Outside Labyrinthos, the younger Kevin and Shion stand in front of her flower garden. In the day's commotion, they were all trampled. Kevin stares as she runs off to the church to get more seeds from Fabronia, despite the growing war zone around her.
No one has the ability to lead others to the truth. Our powers are too limited. Only those who possess divine power can accomplish that.
Amid the mounting military pressure, Margulis and Sellers enact their plan. They deploy Proto-Omega and the 27 series Asura. Suo attempts to persuade them to reconsider. The 27 series are far too dangerous in their current state, but they brush him off and continue on. Out of options, he goes to see Shion in the interrogation room. In exchange for letting her escape the facility, he requests that she go to the nearby church to rescue his daughter. Meanwhile, he plans on protecting his wife in her room. Ironically enough, he is asking his daughter to save his daughter. As they go to leave, Suo is unable to open the door. Pellegrini has locked them inside. Not only that, but she's been able to determine that Suo is actually a double agent, leaking information on Utik's plans to the Federation. She does not intend to let either of them leave. It doesn't matter what she wants, however, since Jin and the others have arrived to rescue Shion. Shion is sure to let Jin know that her opinion of their father has changed. Not only was he really helping the Federation this entire time, but he's risking everything in order to save his family. They make their way outside, now on a mission to save the younger Shion. The situation has gotten far worse, though. The Song of Nephilim has been activated. They're running out of time. At the church, Fabronia and Virgil sit in the pews, his head in her lap. They've certainly grown close over the past few days. Virgil realizes the noise outside is the Federation's next descent operation. He asks her why she isn't fighting, why she isn't killing the women and children like he's heard Realians do. She tells him that she's not outfitted for combat, but she will fight if necessary. Besides, Realians only ever hurt others when instructed to by humans. Just then, the younger Shion bursts inside. She's been pursued by a group of berserk Realians. Virgil jumps to protect her, but not in any state to be fighting, is knocked to the floor. Fabronia stands in front of him and gets in the way of the Realians. She tells him to run away with Shion, and she'll buy him time. He's powerless to do anything, though. He's held back by a few of the Realians as the others cut, beat, and stab Fabronia. They tear her limb from limb right in front of Shion and Virgil. They even begin to eat her alive. This Realian girl saved him twice. She gave up her organs and now her life for him. Adrenaline courses through Virgil's veins, and he overpowers the Realians on top of him. He beats back the intruders and cuts a path for Shion. He gives her a key and tells her to run, avoid the city, and get to Labyrinthos. Right as the younger Shion exits through the back, the elder Shion and her friends arrive to see Fabronia dead and Virgil being attacked. Angered that she was unable to prevent Fabronia's death, Shion runs forward and helps Virgil defeat the remaining Realians. He tells her that the child is all alone out there. They have to help her. Shion helps him to his feet and walks with him, and she hands him a device with the Realian self-destruct code on it, for emergencies only. More Realians arrive, and without a second thought, Virgil pushes Shion out the front and locks the door. He tells them all to go and save Shion, and he activates the self-destruct sequence, killing himself and the Realians inside. As the dust settles, Shion cries. People around her just keep dying, and she's powerless to stop it. On the roof of the building, though, stands the present-day Virgil, the Blue Testament, laughing at the situation. He confronts her with the same conundrum they disagreed about over a year prior. Why did she give him the self-destruct code? Does she value human lives over those of Realians? Unable to come up with a good answer, Virgil does for her. It was her basic human instinct. Survival through destruction. He says that she is worse than a hypocrite. She stands on her high horse and talks about Realian rights, but at the end of the day, she's just like him, driven by revenge and hate. Hate for her father, hate for herself even. She needs to make a choice now. Join the Testaments, join Kevin, that is, and give in to her hate, or stay here and die. Jin snaps her out of it, and they strike at Virgil. In the middle of their battle, Virgil hears a voice pleading with him to stop. It's Feb. The Feb from present day. She's able to speak with him through the UMN. She appeals to the part of him that still loves her. As much as he tries to deny it, her words ring true. A single thought can change the world and shape the future. Just as KOS once said. Anything could come true. Her death burdened him, tying him to this world. But now, here she is, ready to lift that burden. She embraces him, and the two walk into the light together. As she disappears, Fabronia turns to Shion. Though it may be hard, she needs to decide what she wants. To make the right choice, she must believe in herself. "Thank you, Shion," she says. And as quickly as she came, she was gone. Her and Louis Virgil, the Blue Testament, able to rest at last. Jin and KOS-MOS approach Shion. She may be sad right now, but they still have a job to do. They find the younger Shion surrounded by Realians outside the entrance of Labyrinthos. They rescue her, and she asks them to save her mom. Despite knowing the risks of doing such a thing, Shion agrees, and the others, unable to stop her, decide to assist her instead. As soon as the door opens, the younger Shion sprints ahead as the elder falls to the floor with another headache. The child makes it to her mother's room and starts banging on the door. Suo also arrives at this time and sees the 27 series are preparing to kill his daughter. He leaps towards her and locks her in the room. He calls his son and tells him to come quickly, but Jin will not get there in time. At this moment, he's halfway across the city with Chaos and Kanan. The Asura attack, and Shion hears his screams from inside her mother's room. The door opens, and they toss her father's lifeless body inside. Shion scrambles under her mother's bed, and inches above her, the Realians murder her mother. The elder Shion and the others arrive seconds too late. In a fit of rage, Shion draws her weapon, and together they kill the murderous Realians. The younger Shion, unable to process what's happening, screams at the top of her lungs. Her voice reaches across the entire planet, and the Zohar activates. Gnosis begin pouring into the city. It was not Joachim Mizrahi, Albedo, or Utik who called the Gnosis. In actuality, it was Shion Uzuki, distraught by her parents' death. Shocked that it was her who caused all of this pain and suffering, the elder Shion begs her friends to say that it's a lie. And just like she did 15 years ago on Milsha, she screams. She screams with every ounce of energy left in her body, summoning not a horde of Gnosis, but Abel's Ark. After seeing this, Jin and Chaos have finally put it together. This is not the past. This reality has been constructed. Constructed with Shion's subconscious by the Testaments, to bring her here to this very moment, all to call Abel's Ark back to their plane of existence and retrieve the Zohar. The Red Testament, Kevin Winnicott, confirms all of this when he reveals himself to everyone with T-elos in tow. Kevin has arrived to take her with him. Shion wants to know why he would do all of this, sacrifice all of these people, even her mother. He apologizes, but says that it was all in service of protecting her. He was always thinking about her. Only he can save her. Jin demands to know what he means, and Kevin reveals that Shion is indeed suffering from the same illness as their mother. All of the people in this wing of Labyrinthos were. They could all communicate with Udu, and the stress of the constant contact will eventually kill her. Kevin became a testament to save her life, and T-elos is going to help. Not KOS-MOS, but T-elos is the true manifestation of Kevin's desires. KOS-MOS is a prototype made to collect data and monitor Shion. However, KOS-MOS was becoming too close with her, their wills too attached, and this is a problem. KOS-MOS draws her power from the Zohar, and by extension, Udu. This means that whenever KOS-MOS uses her powers, time is shaved off of Shion's life. This is why her illness has progressed much faster than her mother's. Kevin promises that he will always protect her, that he cannot lose her again. Shion is overjoyed. She can finally be happy after all of these years of a tormented existence. Jin draws his weapon and stands between the both of them before Shion can run to him. Kevin is a testament. He's a liar, and Jin doesn't trust him. She tries to tell her brother that this is the love of her life. He refuses to listen. In his view, Kevin is too far gone. Her friends attempt to launch an attack on Kevin, but T-elos and Shion keep getting in the way of them. Jin orders KOS-MOS to take Shion and run, but Kevin tells her the opposite. She stands still, torn between fulfilling the request of her friends or her creator. After a long pause, she tells Kevin that her newest version was designed by Shion and Alan. She is no longer programmed to follow his orders. Despite her protests, KOS-MOS jumps through the window with Shion, knocking her unconscious so she doesn't struggle. Using the bike form of her maintenance pod, she drives towards the Elsa with T-elos in pursuit. Kevin disappears from the room and tells T-elos to leave them. He returns to Wilhelm, and the two of them begin preparing for what's next. With KOS-MOS and Shion on board the Elsa, Tony flies over Labyrinthos to pick up the others. With Joachim dead and the Gnosis present, the Miltian conflict is almost at its end. The Elsa blasts off and exits the atmosphere as everyone on board watches the world around them fade away. They, along with Abel's Ark, reappear in the real number domain, in place of the hypersphere. The Ark emits a wave of energy that annihilates a nearby planet and sends the Elsa flying. The Ark jumps across space to Mictum, and as it does, it emits these same waves, phase-shifting every single planet they come into contact with. If this doesn't stop, every planet in the Federation will be gone in 72 hours. The nearby Durandal picks up the Elsa, and they discuss what to do next. Yuriev mobilizes Federation forces at Mictum in response to the growing phenomenon. This was all foretold in Mizrahi's Y data, and now Abel's Ark seeks Zarathustra, the Eternal Circle, the same device created by Mary Magdalene and the Apostles during the time of Lost Jerusalem. This device was moved to Mictum by Wilhelm, all for this day. With Abel at his side, piloting Omega, they can take back the Zohar and gain control of Zarathustra. Then he'll be able to accomplish his life's goal, to ascend to the upper domain, to become as gods. With no instructions to do so, Margulis commands the immigrant fleet to head to Mictum as well. The opposition has Omega, the Zohar is out of their hands, and now everyone, including Abel's Ark, is hurtling towards Mictum. To him, it's no coincidence. Zarathustra is there, and activating it is the only way they can return to Lost Jerusalem. They will defend their holy land to the very last, even if it means disobeying Heinlein. On the Durandal, Shion is trying to make sense of everything. All the while, Udu speaks to her, asking her questions about human emotions. Jin attempts to comfort her, but she lashes out. Why didn't he let her go? If he had, she could have been happy. She yells at him to get out, and he leaves with his head hung. He may have been able to save his sister from Kevin, but he's still unable to help her. Pathetic, he says. As he leaves, he asks KOS-MOS to try talking with her. Perhaps she can do what he cannot. Shion wonders if what Kevin says is true, that KOS-MOS is killing her. KOS-MOS herself is unsure. Kevin is her original designer, so it's reasonable to believe him. Shion directly asks her why it is that she protects her, specifically her. KOS-MOS replies by saying that protecting Shion is a special directive registered above all others. It is her highest priority. She doesn't know who gave this directive, but she can feel it in her core processing unit. Shion takes this to mean that, in her heart, KOS-MOS wants to protect her. Despite all of this, though, Shion still wants to go with Kevin. After learning that she brought the Gnosis into the world, she thinks of herself as a burden. She believes that everyone else will abandon her now. She asks KOS-MOS to never leave her, and the two hug. Nephilim appears in the room and advises Shion to stay away from Kevin. At this point, Shion is extremely frustrated with her. All Nephilim ever does is randomly appear, say cryptic things, and leave. And she's tired of it. She ignores her advice and reiterates her wish to see Kevin again. Before leaving, Nephilim says that if she can set Abel free from his curse, that she'll have her wish granted. Unsure of the full scope of current events, Junior has the Durandal set a course for Mictum as well. If every one of their adversaries and Abel's Ark are on their way there, then that's where they need to be to stop this madness. What they do know is that Yuriev is probably looking to get the Zohar to power up Omega, and that's definitely something that they cannot let happen. With communication failing across the star system, Helmer tells them that the future of Second Miltia is uncertain. They're evacuating the planet as fast as they can, but if they don't hear from him again, they'll know what happened. They're on their own now. Every faction, even the Federation, will be against them. With over 75% of the planets in the universe gone, they are the last hope for mankind. As they approach Mictum, they can see that Yuriev has already made contact with the Ark. Tony is able to pilot them through the war zone and safely land on the Merkaba. After fighting through the ship, all they find at the end is Sellers gloating. Jin asks him why he's thrown himself in with Yuriev, and Sellers hand waves the question. It doesn't matter who he works with. He just does whatever allows him to complete his research. And despite being given all that he asks for, everything he makes pales in comparison to that of Joachim Mizrahi. Junior doesn't really care about his motivations, though, and demands to know where his father is. Sellers reveals Dimitri's secret, how he has been alive for countless years, transmitting his mind from one host to the next. Guinan was just next in line. Angered at the revelation, Junior tries to attack Sellers, but he narrowly avoids and hovers away in his chair. He has no desire to fight them. He's only here to stall for time for Yuriev, who, at that moment, is boarding the Durandal with the intention of unsealing the Zohar emulators. Omega secures the area around the ship, and the Salvatores ruthlessly kill all those on board who stand in their way. With Guinan's access to the Durandal systems, Yuriev bypasses all security measures deployed by Mary and Shelley. He enters the bridge and approaches the sisters. He whispers in Mary's ear, telling her to get some rest, before shooting her twice in the stomach. Yuli demands to know why he's doing this, and before her eyes, his hair changes color. She understands. Guinan and Dimitri are now one and the same. Kanan tries to attack Yuriev, but Citrine intervenes. If any of them want a chance at dying peacefully, they're going to give him the emulator access codes. The Elsa is able to narrowly avoid Omega's lasers, and they blast. Bodies litter the floor of the Durandal. Emotional at what Junior sees, he decides to help any remaining survivors first. After all, each one of them is his responsibility. Even Ziggy, always one to keep a cool head, is having trouble processing the carnage. They come upon the rooms where Yuli, Kanan, Mary, and Shelley are being held. Momo quickly treats Mary's wound. Yuriev is almost at emulator storage. They tell their friends to get to the Elsa, and they push on ahead. As they reach the door to the hangar, Citrine stands in their way. Junior doesn't wish to fight, but Citrine does. It's her purpose in life. Her duty is to destroy the Red Dragon. She's easily defeated, though. With her dying breath, she asks why Junior exists. He left every other URTV to die. He even killed their brother. Why is he still alive? Junior says that he lives on because of the promise he made to Sakura. Dissatisfied with the answer, Citrine falls over and dies.
What could that alarm be?
That bastard! He activated the emulators!
So, they disposed of Citrine. What is it? Oh, I see. You're sad. You had a connection to that unit. But that's nothing more than an illusion. You are weapons. You see, you're nothing more than one of my parts. You don't need any meaningless emotions. Anything more is completely unnecessary.
Behold this glorious picture. My revenge will begin. My time of victory against his terror has finally come.
You filthy bastard! Stop the emulators now!
Is that you, Rubido? It's been a long time, hasn't it? I must say I've missed you.
Listen, we both know what'll happen if you even think about touching those. Give back Guinan's body and get the hell out of here!
Oh, I am so disappointed in you, Rubido. This circumstance is your fault entirely. There's no one else to blame but yourself, and I'm afraid I've been forced to take matters into my own hands. Since those incomplete units failed their mission 15 years ago.
My fault? Oh yeah? Are you planning on using the emulators in Omega to destroy Udo?
No, it isn't that sort of thing. Nothing can ever destroy Udo. I guess you really don't understand the reasons why I am here.
All right then, fine. Why are you here?
In ancient times, people used to be together with God. People loved God, revered, and even feared God. Out of fear of the undying God, they sought divine power. This was a way for the ancients to resist him. Eventually, they found a method to become gods themselves. We have revived their relics, the Merkaba and the Zohar emulators, as well as Mizrahi's Y data, which holds the records left behind by the ancients. This holds the instructions so that we may become gods once again. You see, Udo is a god of this dimension. If in fact God cannot be destroyed, then we shall be the ones to become gods ourselves. Farewell, my son. I must go now. Remember your great father.
Damn it! Momo, can we stop the emulators?
No, we can't. The controls are destroyed. There's no way to stop them.
The ship is moving.
The Durandal's beginning to turn. That means it's heading for the Ark.
Damn it! Dad's gonna ram the ship and the emulators right into the Ark!
Now what?
We'll purge the dock and escape. It's gonna be rough, but we don't have any choice. Let's go!
When the Durandal makes contact with the Ark, the two fuse into one, even larger object. Yuriev disposes of the inferior battery developed by Sellers, and places the newly acquired Zohar into Omega Res Novae. With the power of the original Zohar and the 12 emulators nearby, Omega's energy levels skyrocket. Desperate to get inside and stop his father, Junior accepts help from Doctus, who gives them a special program that will allow the Elisa to bypass the typical checks and balances of the UMN and perform a short-distance gate jump. This way, they can jump directly inside of the Ark without any resistance from external forces. As they prepare to enter, Kanan reveals to Chaos that he's discovered the truth about himself and Program Kanan. He was previously known as Lactus, the Realian who worked with Ziggy on the Voyager investigation 100 years prior. After being recalled to Vector, he was rebuilt, his memory suppressed, and he was deployed for surveillance. Against his own will, everything that he sees is sent straight to Wilhelm. The conversation ends with Kanan unsure of himself, unable to grapple with the fact that his existence causes undue suffering. Something that he hopes to rectify someday. From his office, Wilhelm watches these events unfold and dispatches Albedo to the Ark. Shortly thereafter, he's called by Margulis, who begs Cardinal Heinlein for permission to move onto the Ark and retrieve the Zohar. This is despite the fact that he's already moved their forces to Mictum airspace and engaged Federation vessels without being prompted to. Margulis cannot understand why His Eminence will not act. Heinlein again orders Margulis to stand down. After the meeting ends, he comes to the conclusion that there's some greater force at play. Something is causing Heinlein to actively disrupt them from achieving their long-awaited goals, and he will not allow that to happen. After successfully jumping inside of the Ark, the party comes across 4 unique Gnosis, each empowered by 3 Zohar emulators. They defeat all 4 of them, and upon their victories, the emulators are destroyed, and the path to Dimitri is opened. Omega towers over him, with Abel locked inside. Not surprised to see his son still standing against him, Yuriev tells him that he's just trying to rectify the mistakes made by the URTVs 15 years ago. Rubido should be grateful. In anger, Junior threatens to kill his father, but is soon reminded that his brother still dwells within Yuriev. If he wants to stop him for good, Guinan will perish as well. With the power granted to him by Udu, Yuriev stands at the ready. He's been waiting his entire existence for this moment, and he won't let Rubido get in the way again. He will conquer his fear and ascend to the realm of God. With his friends by his side, Junior opposes his father, and together they manage to weaken him. With one last trick up his sleeve, Dimitri merges himself into Omega to create its final and most powerful form, Omega Metempsychosis. As many times as they strike at Yuriev and Omega, they just cannot seem to inflict any lasting damage on them. Seeing that they're out of ideas, Albedo reveals himself. He waves, happy to see his brother again. Using his power, he completes his directive, removing both the Zohar and Abel from the machine, and transporting them to Mictum for Wilhelm. With its power source gone, Omega shuts down and Yuriev falls to the ground. Albedo encourages Guinan to fight back. Don't give their father what he wants. Using all of his strength, Guinan calls out to his brothers. He pleads for Junior to kill him. It's the only way to stop Yuriev. Conflicted at the request, Junior hesitates. Albedo reminds him that he killed him just a few months ago. It's the same thing. Guinan agrees with Albedo. This must be done. He is so sorry that he's putting this burden on his older brother. Dimitri starts to take back control, and so Albedo and Junior begin a mental link. They have the power to repel Udu's waves, and Guinan's body has been contaminated. Albedo plans to remove Negredo from Yuriev's body, place him inside of Rubido's, and take the body with Yuriev into another dimension. But instead, Negredo enters Albedo's body and sends him to Rubido, knowing that he wants to be with his twin brother so badly. In his final moments, Guinan apologizes to Junior again. His entire purpose for existing was to monitor him. So now, given this opportunity, he is taking it upon himself to end that curse. He shows Junior a vision of what he's supposed to look like as an adult, encouraging him to allow himself to grow up. Junior tries to stop his brother, but he's made his choice. Briefly, Guinan appears just as he was when they were children, suggesting that maybe one day, the 3 of them will be able to play again. He tells his brothers to take care and disappears along with his father. On the Elsa, Mary and Shelley hear him as he goes. He asks them to watch over Junior and thanks them for everything they've done. Junior and Albedo take a moment to process what just happened. They joke that Negredo and Citrine are probably still spying on them. Junior echoes Guinan's final words. The three of them will be together once again. Exhausted from the link, or perhaps even existence in general, Albedo rests within Junior's subconscious. Before he does, he tells Junior that he sent the Zohar and Abel to Mictum. With Yuriev defeated and the final preparations in place, it is time for Wilhelm to do his part. He teleports along with his mech Joshua to Zarathustra. Joshua is not an ES, but not quite an Ames. Something fundamentally different, but powerful all the same. Joshua was also the main reactor of the Damarung, and upon its removal, the entire ship goes dark and stops moving. Junior and the others head back to the Elsa and make a rapid descent to Mictum. Yuriev and the Salvatores may no longer be a problem, but they still have to contend with Ormus. In the commotion, Richard and Herman watch the Elsa fly down to the surface from their ESs and follow closely behind. Wilhelm speaks to Margulis again, frustrated at his inability to follow orders. Margulis will not pull back his forces from Mictum. His faith is too strong, unshaking and immovable. It has prevented him from listening. Seeing no other choice, Wilhelm reveals himself, and for the first time ever, Margulis is able to see Heinlein in the flesh, instead of just a bright light. Wilhelm tells Margulis everything. The true reason behind the creation of Ormus, Yeshua's role in their plans, and that the stated goal of returning to Lost Jerusalem was a lie. Everything Margulis had ever done in service of his religion, to his eminence, to his Lord Jesus Christ, was a lie. So everything was meaningless? Margulis asks. Wilhelm attempts to comfort him by saying, it was not meaningless as long as he doesn't think it was meaningless. Now, with all the information on the table, Wilhelm gives Margulis a choice. Either continue to work with them in the final moments of their plan, or spend his remaining time in this cycle purposeless. Now on Mictum, Junior tells the crew of the Elsa that Yuli is in charge while they're gone. If anything happens, they are to leave the planet without them and save themselves. This is the end of the line. Junior, Shion, KOS-MOS, Chaos, Jin, Ziggy, Momo, Alan, and Kanan will go. Junior specifically requests that Alan come to support Shion. Her illness is really taking a toll, and she does not look good. They all board their ESs and travel through the ruins of Mictum to an area with a high density of Gnosis. The Zohar is surely nearby. Individually, Kanan and Ziggy reflect on the fact that it's been 100 years since they were here last, back when the planet was called Abraxas. They're stopped by Richard and Herman, who are once again quickly and unceremoniously defeated. Their anima relics are taken by Voyager's ES Dan, which speeds away. They eventually pass the ruins of the Federation Police Department. As the memories of his old friends, his family, and his job re-enter his mind, Ziggy speaks up and explains that when he was human, he first faced Voyager on this planet. He watched his transformation into a testament. Nearby, they encounter a destroyed spaceport. As they do, Shion's pendant begins to glow, and she's drawn to the evacuation platform. She'll never know it, but this is where Kevin's mother, while transforming into a Gnosis, saved her son and gifted him this very same pendant. She feels a particular sadness coming from this area. Without any time to think on it, Pellegrini ambushes them. Even though Margulis has told her everything she's worked for was a lie, she's still here. Jin attempts to defuse the situation by telling her they have no quarrel with her, and this is all bigger than the Federation or Ormus. Pellegrini recounts how Ormus, the people of the Zohar, found refuge on Abraxas, how the Federation took control, murdered civilians, and even renamed the planet to Mictum. This is all she has now. This is her reason for being. She may have been lied to for years, but being here right now, facing her former lover, is her choice. Her final one, in fact. After the battle, her ES begins to fall apart. Jin yells to her to eject. For her to die here would be pointless. If she lives, she can fight Jin again and again, and one day defeat him. But she refuses. She's tired of fighting, tired of it all, and she accepts her fate with open arms. Pellegrini's ES explodes, killing her instantly. Again, Voyager retrieves the Anima Relic and flies off. Ziggy sees the direction he's going and realizes where the Zohar is. The cathedral, the abominable place where Voyager killed his wife and son. He admits that, try as he may, he cannot erase those memories. Even cyborgs get nightmares. And this is his. Inside, Voyager stands at the center of the room. Ziggy demands to know why he became a testament, why he continues to haunt him, and why he chose this place. Eric tells him that he became a testament to conquer his fear of death. Jan ignored his words and ended his own life. Horrified at the thought of Ziggy being a testament, Momo asks if this is true. Voyager reveals that every single one of them has what it takes to be one, and he puts Kanan's secret on full display. Kanan, codename Lactus, was created from the very beginning to identify and observe those with the capabilities of testaments. These very factors, these shining wills, are the same ones that allow them to even pilot the ESs to begin with. It's why he was placed on a team with Jan Sauer and Eric Weber, and it's why he's been in such close proximity to Junior and the others. It's not Kanan's wish to be a traitor. He's just simply programmed that way. Ziggy is caught completely off guard by this. Kanan is Lactus, the Realian that fought alongside him, Melise, Bugs, and Mikhail all those years ago. Eric activates his ES and tells Jan that he's going to finish him off in the same exact place where he killed his son. During the fight, ES Dan is destroyed and the Anima Relic taken by Kevin's ES, Judah. Voyager emerges without a scratch on him and says he's only getting started. Ziggy jumps out of Zebulon and tries to attack Voyager head-on, but he teleports and grabs Ziggy's face, pulling him to the ground. Before he can harm him any further, Kanan gets in between them and makes Eric a proposition. Leave them alone, and he will give him the power to entirely conquer his fear of death. The one who gifted him the power of a testament can take it away at any time. Lactus offers him the power of the compass of order and chaos. Kanan's programming has a direct line to the compass, and with it, Voyager could become an undying god. In exchange for this, Kanan asks to become a testament himself. Voyager accepts and reaches inside of Kanan to absorb the power of the compass. As he reaches for it, though, his power and body begin to fade. This power is far too great for one man to wield. It is forbidden. Lactus grabs his arm, holding the two of them in place. This is what Kanan was hoping for. Eric has touched something that must never be touched. And now he must suffer the consequences. The compass is going to send them both to phase space. Jan tells Lactus to stop. He'll be scattered across infinity, unable to return. But Lactus would rather die protecting his friends than live betraying them. He wants another purpose in life. He says his goodbyes and prays for the success of the mission. Then, Lactus and Voyager fade away, gone forever. With one less comrade amongst their ranks, the group presses onward, underneath the cathedral to the old Ormus research facility. They're stopped by Margulis, itching for one final battle with Jin. He is lost. He comments that the followers that died were the lucky ones. They died happy knowing that they were doing something that mattered, something great. But now that Margulis knows the truth, he can't live with himself. They were all fools, dancing to the tune of lies. He's become pitiful and aimless. Everything he's lived for has betrayed him. But the battle with Jin Uzuki will never do that, for that is the most pure form of expression of all. They ready themselves for one final bout. And this time, there is a convincing victor. Jin stands tall while Margulis' ES has taken heavy damage. And finally, after all these years, Margulis admits that Jin is a skilled warrior, officially his better. But now, after this, both Pellegrini and he will be gone. The only people who understood Jin will be dead.
Very interesting. Now let's begin once again.
Give up, Margulis!
No, never! It's all right. This is my wish. I have lived to settle the score with you. At this moment, I am not going to lose to you!
As before, Judah takes the vessel of Anima from the wreckage and leaves. After the battle, Shion's pendant shines brightly again and pulls her towards the path forward. Unfortunately, the ESs cannot fit past this point, and they continue on foot. On the floor is another biblical passage from Matthew 28. Momo deciphers what she can.
Momo, can you read it?
And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. That's the only text I can decipher. The rest isn't in my data.
This area is adorned with blue crystals, confirmed to be the same mineral as Shion's pendant by KOS-MOS. Shion falls unconscious, called by Udu again. She can now see that the young boy Abel has really been a manifestation of Udu all along, and fittingly, he's as curious as the child they see him as. He bombards her with questions. He wants to know about the world and about people. He wants to know about her and why she feels pain, why she exists, and what it is that she wants out of life. She's distressed and confused, but through it all, the conversation makes her realize that the only thing that will make her happy is Kevin. When she wakes up, Nephilim appears to let her know that Kevin is up ahead. Only Shion can open the door to get there. When she asks why, Nephilim tells her of a woman in the past who sealed this door. Long ago, Shion used to know this woman. They laughed and cried together. And now this woman's consciousness has a chance to return. If it does, the universe can be saved. But at a great cost. Shion's life will be cut short. Shion stops listening, however, when Nephilim suggests that her friends understand her pain. In her eyes, no one really knows her, and no one cares about her. Everyone around her either dies or leaves her. The only time she doesn't feel like complete garbage is around Kevin. So yes, she will open the door, but not for anyone else. Only herself, so she can see Kevin and atone for bringing the Gnosis into the universe. Alan tries to get her to realize that people do care about her, himself included. She pushes him back and walks past him as he stumbles over his words, nearly admitting that he loves her. He understands that she feels awful, but he is there for her. They're all there for her. She isn't alone, and they can figure out a way to save her. She yells at him and says that he's powerless to do anything. What could Alan Ridgely do? He can't save her life. She tells him that he has no power and he should just shut up. Jin tries to reason with her, but she doesn't care. She wants to be left alone. Her mind is made up. Nephilim asks her if she's sure, and she is. In a flash of light, Shion is brought back to Renle Chateau. She enters the cave where they fought T-elos and notices that everything in the room looks brand new. What she is seeing is a version of this place from thousands of years ago. In the back of the room is chaos. Confused at this, Shion asks what he's doing there, and he motions to the casket. Inside is not KOS-MOS nor T-elos, but a woman who looks just like them. Shion surmises that they both must have been modeled after this woman. She touches her forehead, and the woman opens her eyes. In another flash of light, Shion is shown visions from the woman's life. And chaos is there too. At the end of it all, she understands that, much like herself, this woman has lost so much. Together, they'll find the answers they're looking for. When Shion wakes up from this dream, KOS-MOS has changed. The red robotic eyes gone, replaced with clear blue ones. Shion has fully awakened the soul of Mary Magdalene. T-elos leaps from a ledge up high in the room, furious that Mary has awakened inside of KOS-MOS. It was not supposed to be this way. Mary Magdalene is a part of T-elos. She has her body after all. KOS-MOS is just a cheap imitation. She's going to rip her to shreds and take Mary's will for herself. T-elos lunges at KOS-MOS and the battle commences. While KOS-MOS is able to keep up, the others have trouble seeing a clear attack pattern. Eventually, during a lull in the fight, Shion asks what this all means. T-elos says that Shion is the key to all of this. She is the reincarnation of the Maiden of Mary Magdalene, and Kevin planned on using Shion to awaken Mary, which will allow them to activate Zarathustra. T-elos resumes her attack and manages to grab hold of Shion, threatening to kill her. KOS-MOS separates the two and shields Shion from T-elos' gunshots. Shion asks what KOS-MOS is, and she says that she is Mary, but at the same time, not Mary. She learned from Shion that the heart changes from each moment to the next. While at some point, she may have been Mary, her time with Shion and the others has changed her. As T-elos prepares to attack again, KOS-MOS grabs the gun from her hand. If T-elos intends to hurt her friends, then she must be stopped. As the fight reaches its end, T-elos charges up Teneritas, the same attack that destroyed KOS-MOS in their last fight. But this time, KOS-MOS holds it back, completely stopping it with a single hand. Frustrated, T-elos charges another. KOS-MOS follows suit and charges her own version of the attack, Teneritas. Both blasts meet each other, but the one from KOS-MOS easily wins out, striking T-elos square in the chest. T-elos has been defeated. KOS-MOS approaches her body, and the two begin to glow a bright gold color. T-elos disappears, and only KOS-MOS remains. They have merged. However, now that Mary Magdalene has awakened, Wilhelm can finally activate Zarathustra. It has begun. Gnosis appear in numbers never before seen across the entire universe. All of them are traveling in the same direction. They're all looking towards a beacon now. And that beacon is on Mictum. Zarathustra. 80% of the Federation is unreachable now. Shion is confused at how KOS-MOS relates to all of this, and so Chaos finally speaks up. He explains that Zarathustra was brought here from lost Jerusalem long ago, and Mary can use it to reshape the universe. The pendant Shion holds was entrusted to her by Kevin for this day. That pendant is the key to Zarathustra. Uncertain of what comes next, they move through the newly opened passageway to see Kevin. He greets Shion and Mary on the other side. He tells Shion that he was lost just like her. When this planet was brought to ruins, he was the only one left. He was just a child and he lost everything. But then he recounts the day that Wilhelm visited him. Everyone, besides Chaos, is stunned at the revelation that the CEO of Vector, Wilhelm, was behind all of this. All of the choices Kevin made were dictated by Wilhelm's script. Even his death, a necessary sacrifice. It was actually Kevin who gave the controls to KOS-MOS over to Cherenkov. He allowed all of those people to die, and it was so Shion would mourn his loss and deepen her bond with KOS-MOS. Kevin has quite literally been grooming Shion from the time she was a child to get to this day. She can't believe what she's hearing, but Kevin takes full responsibility. In the end, it was to protect the universe and save her. Now that he's a testament, he can prevent her death and spend eternity with her. Alan can see right through this act, though. He points out how, despite allegedly caring about Shion, he used and abused her for years, manipulated her feelings to get the outcome he desired without once thinking about how it would affect her. Kevin asks Alan if the right thing to do would have been to just allow Shion to die, even if it meant not hurting her feelings, and Alan cannot come up with a response. Shion starts to walk towards Kevin, and Junior fires a shot at him. Shion deflects it with her weapon and asks them not to hurt Kevin. Jin tries to convince her to step away from him, but she's just so confused. She loves him. He did this all for her. Is it right of her to just reject him now? She's suffered all her life, and she can be happy now. What's wrong with being happy? What would Jin know about feelings anyway? It's his lack of empathy that drove Pellegrini away from him, and eventually to her death. Everyone is so surprised at how callous she's being, but she's serious. Shion has decided to be with Kevin. It's over. Saddened that it's come to this, Jin draws his blade. If Shion intends on getting in their way, he will strike her down. And Junior agrees. They must stop Wilhelm, even if it means hurting Shion. In the middle of the fight, Alan gets in the way to make them stop. There has to be another path. This is pointless. Kevin asserts that Alan is weak. He's powerless to do anything. He can't save the universe or Shion. Alan claps back, pointing out that Testaments are weak. They lack resolve. Terrified of their inadequacies and of death, they succumbed to the temptation of power and left their humanity behind. Many of their adversaries did. All they did was use their newfound power to run from reality. Kevin wonders if this means that Alan thinks he has more resolve than him. He can't even win Shion's heart, even after all this time. What power does he have? Alan confidently says that, although he is not physically strong like Kevin, he would never harm Shion, and he would never leave her. He will stand firm on this spot and save her no matter what. Kevin says, "Very well," and strikes Alan with bolts of lightning from his hand. Alan falls to the floor in pain. Again and again, Kevin attacks him, launching him across the room. Everyone, Shion included, watches on with pained expressions. Regardless of the damage he's taken, Alan stands back up. As Kevin readies himself again, Shion solemnly tells him to stop. He's made his point. Alan is too weak. Though his physical assault has stopped, he continues with a verbal one. Alan is so pathetic. He's being pitied by the woman he loves. Does he really crave sympathy that much?
Sympathy? You don't understand Chief's suffering like I do. I understand her feelings, her pain, and her sadness. And despite that, she struggled alone to do everything that she possibly could. You don't have any idea how much she's been hurt, or how she's suffered. How could anyone like you understand? You have no idea how much she's cried.
Alan, please, that's enough! It's all right. You've done enough. Why do you have to suffer like that?
You see, I wanted to cry in her place. And I wanted to be the one to feel her pain. Because I wanted to spend my life together with her. I know that I may not be able to do much in this world. But I would do absolutely anything for her.
So then do you think you can take her away from me? Shion may find your feelings to be too much of a burden for her.
Even if that was the case, the feelings I have won't ever change for her. Like you said, I'm a pathetic man. All I could ever do was watch her from afar. But there's no way I would ever abandon her. I won't lose to someone like you, who has only run away. I'm taking Shion back, no matter what happens.
All right, then. I shall grant your wish.
When the dust clears, KOS-MOS stands beside Alan, propping him up with her body. She tells him it's all right. She understands Alan's pain and Shion's. Together, the two of them slowly walk to Shion. Alan isn't even able to stay upright. Kevin tells KOS-MOS that this is in complete defiance of Wilhelm. She says that she must protect Shion. What Wilhelm wants at this moment is irrelevant. Disgusted, Kevin calls her a failure. She is not Mary Magdalene. She's something different. KOS-MOS turns to Shion and asks her if she really wants to betray everyone. Kevin shoots another bolt at them from his hand, but this time, Shion grabs him and aims it towards the ground. She realizes that her friends are right. Of course she wants to be with Kevin, even if it meant she was being gaslit and manipulated. But if to be with him, others have to suffer like she has, then she can't be with him. She does love him, but she refuses to be the only one to achieve happiness. Kevin protests, but Shion has changed her mind. She will stand with her friends. Defeated, Kevin attempts to attack Shion's friends, but she stands directly in front of him, unwilling to allow anyone else to be hurt. He simply cannot fathom that Shion has emotions independent from his own. Wilhelm calls him from down the hall, telling him to stand down. He has failed. Kevin complies and teleports to the next room. The others give chase and finally see what this entire conflict has been about. Zarathustra. With a snap of his fingers, Wilhelm pulls their ESs into the room and removes the anima relics, placing them with the others around Zarathustra. Everything required for eternal recurrence is in the room right now. Zarathustra itself, the 12 anima relics, Joshua piloted by Abel, Mary Magdalene and her maiden, along with the pendant, and the Zohar. All Wilhelm needs now is for Shion to use the pendant to unleash Mary's power of anima and trigger the eternal recurrence. However, in order for it to work, she has to want to do it. Something that Kevin has failed to accomplish. For tens of thousands of years of human history, Wilhelm has worked to this moment, influencing events throughout time for this particular outcome. The crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth, the disappearance of lost Jerusalem from normal space, the tragedies that affect the very lives of all present in this room, whether he was posing as a king, a religious figure, or a CEO. It was all him. All for this. Wilhelm speaks to Chaos, as he always has, recalling the events of the past, even calling him by his original name, Yeshua. Understandably, Chaos's friends are shocked to learn that he is not human, but in fact, the physical embodiment of anima. He stays silent, unsure of what to say. Wilhelm finally speaks on his goal. The universe is destined for destruction. To his knowledge, it is inevitable. To put off the end of the universe, Wilhelm intends to use Zarathustra to cause an eternal recurrence. Zarathustra will suppress both Abel and Abel's Ark, Udu's observational terminals, into their world. All of the wills in the universe will be brought to Zarathustra. Then, this entire lower domain will be reset to its very beginning, and the cycle will continue, forever repeating. There's no telling how many times this has happened either. They've probably had this very conversation countless times before, and they probably haven't had it countless times as well. Every single moment of this journey has been a point of failure, and if they fail to stop Wilhelm here, it will take billions of years for another attempt. Shion, after hearing this, has no intention of helping Wilhelm. He doesn't speak for all of humanity. Repeating the same events over and over cannot be what mankind desires. Wilhelm provides evidence to the contrary. It turns out that Gnosis were all once humans who rejected the universe. They desire the salvation that eternal recurrence provides, fearful of an uncertain future. Since Shion will not assist him, Wilhelm is just going to torture her until she gives in. He pulls her into the air and knocks everyone else to the ground with his power. As Shion writhes in agony, Alan begs KOS-MOS to help her. She hesitates, though. Maybe this is humanity's best chance to live on, even if doing so requires standing back and watching Shion be hurt. She wishes there was a different way. It is not KOS-MOS who rescues Shion, but Kevin. He can no longer stand to see his love be tortured. With a quick movement, Kevin chops Wilhelm's arm off, dropping Shion to the ground. This betrayal does not surprise Wilhelm, though. Kevin has never really cared about protecting the universe, only Shion. He binds Kevin to the ground just like the others, and resumes Shion's torture. He turns to KOS-MOS. Shion will continue to suffer unless Mary intervenes. Wilhelm orders her to take the key from Shion and begin the eternal recurrence herself, or watch Shion in pain indefinitely. KOS-MOS chooses neither, instead shattering the pendant in her hand. After what must have been millions upon billions upon trillions of cycles, Wilhelm is speechless. He was not expecting this. This should be impossible. These events have never taken place before. The eternal recurrence has never been prevented, and there will never be another to prevent. This is the universe's final go-around. Taking advantage of the situation, Kevin punches through Wilhelm's torso, crippling him further. Kevin finally understands now. While Wilhelm and the Testaments have forced the universe down the same road over and over again, this time humanity has mustered the strength to walk a different path. even if it means that the universe will come to an end eventually. It's their decision, and they'll walk that path together. Wilhelm disagrees, but Chaos, inspired by KOS-MOS and Kevin's acts of defiance, agrees with Kevin. His journey with his friends made him remember that their actions can change the future. They may be able to stop whatever comes. The correct answer here matters not to Wilhelm. All of the Gnosis in the universe have gathered here. Zarathustra has already been activated and is going haywire. Now unable to rewind time, the massive amount of energy here will destroy the universe today. In a moment of self-sacrifice, Kevin decides to absorb an enormous amount of energy into his body. This will kill both him and Wilhelm, but it might give Shion and the others enough time to stop Zarathustra.
How foolish of you. Kevin, don't you know that your body will perish from this world if you continue to do that?
I won't be the only one. You will perish as well, Wilhelm.
So, you do this with full knowledge.
No, Kevin!
Shion! I'm suppressing the system's energy! Hurry! You must destroy Zarathustra!
But Kevin, you...
Don't worry about me. Concentrate on the system. This won't mean anything if you don't stop it.
Shion, it's true, he's right. The future isn't set in stone. With the power of your wills, you can shape it into the future you desire.
And after a hard-fought battle, they're victorious. Zarathustra has been calmed. As Wilhelm and Kevin fade away, Chaos says that he chooses to believe in the light of human wills. Wilhelm, defeated, smiles and accepts the possibility, bidding his old adversary Yeshua goodbye. Kevin manages to wish Shion a goodbye as well, though it's much more than he deserves. Now, Nephilim reveals herself, transporting Abel out of Joshua. After witnessing how hard humans have fought to stay alive, he's decided to help them. And Zarathustra is still absorbing an unparalleled amount of energy. So, Nephilim plans to use the Zohar to shift this entire region of space to Lost Jerusalem, to Earth. To do this, KOS-MOS grants Nephilim the power of Animus, and Chaos grants Abel the power of Anima. This will not prevent the universe from destruction, but it will buy humanity a few tens of thousands of years or so to figure out a solution. They will stay behind to see this through to the end. While they gather the energy, everyone else needs to leave and figure out a way to stop the end of everything. Once they do, they must join Chaos and everyone else at Lost Jerusalem. And so Mary and her maiden part once again. They're confident that they'll meet again one day, just as Chaos said. Since Asher is the only ES able to function without an anima relic, they all take it as far as it can go, with Jin in the pilot's chair. On the return trip, they notice that the Gnosis are heading down to the chamber in large numbers. It seems like they don't want to go to Lost Jerusalem. They're scared of this future. After letting everyone else off, Jin decides to go back and help KOS-MOS defend Chaos, Nephilim, and Abel. Shion doesn't want him to go. She says that she'll be alone without him and apologizes for all the awful things she said to him. He too apologizes for not being the best big brother. He entrusts her safety to Alan, whom he's proud to call his friend, and reminds her that with all of these wonderful friends she's made, she will never be alone. With that, they fight through the rest of the facility without Jin, and they've almost made it too. When a Gnosis threatens to kill Shion, Alan doesn't think, he acts. He tackles it to the floor and beats its face in with the rifle he's holding. He screams that he's going to protect Shion. He shoots the Gnosis in the head, killing it. With the gun slung over his shoulder, he helps her to her feet. They all make it back to the Elsa, and after Captain Matthews accepts that not all of their comrades are coming with them, they take off from the planet. When Jin returns to Zarathustra, he finds KOS-MOS heavily damaged, fighting a large Gnosis. To assist her, he self-destructs Asher and lands on the ground.
Take more than that!
Jin!
It's okay. I'm all right. Keep going. Hurry!
Right.
It's quiet now. I don't think it's ever been this quiet before in my whole life. This is what I sought. And yet, now that the time has finally come, I long for the noise of the past. I long for those hectic and chaotic days that once were. But this, too, is pleasant in an odd sort of way. Yes. The time has come for me to move on. Shion.
Jin.
They've almost finished, but one final Gnosis remains. To ensure the future of this world, KOS-MOS enacts Teneritas and collides with it, causing a massive explosion, but protecting Chaos and the others. With the preparations complete, the phase shift begins. The Gnosis, Udu's observation of the lower domain, and the UMN are completely gone. The latter results in the Elsa being unable to jump out of range of the phase shift. However, Chaos is able to telepathically communicate to Shion that they have temporarily left a single jump point to use. Tony steers the ship towards it as the dimensional shift quickly catches up to them. With no other options, Captain Matthews authorizes the use of the Elsa's secret technique, Overboost. A pair of large wings, like that of a swan, appear on the sides of the ship, increasing its speed. Unsure of where exactly they'll end up, they make the jump at the very last second and find nothing but darkness. Many of the stars and planets that dotted the expanse of space are now gone. Conveniently for them, they've ended up right in front of the Damarung. With the UMN gone, faster-than-light travel and long-distance communication are now rendered impossible. The Damarung is likely humanity's last bastion. Together with what remains of Vector and Scientia, Momo and Yuli work to construct a replacement network for the UMN. Ziggy stays with them, together as a family, finally able to rest after confronting his nightmare. Shion, now able to appreciate the man who has stuck by her side all this time, returns Alan's feelings, and the two enter into a relationship. They, along with Junior and the crew of the Elsa, begin their long journey to find Lost Jerusalem. Equipped with only normal flight, they're determined to complete the task entrusted to them by Nephilim and Chaos. It will take years, maybe even their entire lives, but they have to try. Their desire to change the future has changed this world forever, and if they stay true to themselves, they may be able to change it once again. On the other side of the universe, KOS-MOS, accompanied by the disembodied voice of Chaos, drifts through space. Against all odds, they still exist in this world. It seems that as long as people and this universe desire it, they will continue to exist. They haven't finished what they need to do yet. So until then, sleep well. KOS-MOS.
Good night.